This book will make the perfect white elephant gift at your office holiday party. It will no doubt help you find your people instantly. You will quickly know if Gypsy at reception has a sense of humor and whether or not you should invite her to join your wine club. Book club. If Fritz in accounting doesn't start laughing as soon as he sees the cover, then you know you need to find a new place to work. But a word of caution. Don't give your boss this book. Most bosses don't have a sense of humor, and it could be a bad move for you and your career. I can't have that on my conscience. I wrote this book because I come from a long line of Christmas overachievers on my mother's side of the family. Her mother grew up on a farm in Canada with her 6 sisters. On Christmas Eve, their father would put them to bed and tell them to stay put no matter what they heard. Then he'd go out to the barn, hitch up the horses to their sled, and drive all over the front yard of their farmhouse ringing sleigh bells. The little girls, who slept 2 and 3 to a bed, would quiver and giggle with excitement, believing that Santa had arrived. In the morning, they'd find sled tracks in the snow and half-eaten carrots strewn around the yard, and they'd believe in the magic for another year. I'm convinced this Yuletide gene skipped my generation. Well, maybe not my whole generation. I have cousins who would argue with me on this point, but it skipped me, at least. To help you better navigate the essays in this book, here's a quick who's who of some of the people you'll encounter. I'm Jen. I'm a sarcastic, kind of bitchy, funny, sometimes offensive, middle-aged, tired, married mother of 2, who tends to say out loud, with as many profanities as possible, what everyone else is thinking. I have 2 kids, Gomer, age 10 at the writing of this book, and Adolpha, age 8. Before you have a hissy fit and sit down to write me a nasty letter about my children's horrible names, just stop. Of course those aren't their real names. Their real names are worse, but I can't take the ridicule, so I just made up what I consider to be horrific names for my blog, people I want to punch in the throat, and my books. Are you still writing that letter? Why? Because your kid's name is Gomer and you take offense that I called it horrific? Ugh. Actually, you know what? Go ahead. I don't care. Right away. As long as you bought this book, you can bitch at me about anything you'd like. I'm married to the Hubs. His name isn't important. You can call him the Hubs too. Everyone does. He's a cheap bastard who can be a tad antisocial, but he treats me like gold, so he's my lobster. Oh yeah, he's Chinese and I'm Caucasian. Sometimes that information is good to know when you're listening to these stories. I was raised by a professional overachieving mom, an OAM, and my father, her enabler. When I was growing up, my dad encouraged my mom to stay home and follow her dreams of investing their retirement nest egg in her version of porn, crazy-ass expensive Santa Claus figurines, and nativity sets. Hundreds of them. No joke. She has Santas that are baking cookies, decorating Christmas trees, and coming down chimneys, as well as one jogging in boxer shorts. She has nativity sets made of glass, pewter, and wood. One of her favorites is a 6-pack of empty beer cans that were painted to resemble the Holy Family and the 3 wise men. She even has a few Santas holding mangers. I just blew your mind, didn't I? Yeah, because nothing says Jesus is the reason for the season like a Santa Claus figurine holding the baby Jesus. I have a younger brother I call CB, not his real name either. From here on out, you can just assume that every name you hear besides Jen has been changed. Jenny, with an I, sadly, is real. He has an important real job in the real world and is a tad concerned that his boss might read this book. As if his boss reads anything but Rob Report and Yachting Magazine. Anyway, CB would like to remain as anonymous as possible, just in case he decides to run for president someday or join a country club. He's married to Ida, and they have 2 kids, Sherman and Violet. So getting back to the theme of this book, when I was growing up, my mother made sure that holidays were always an event with a capital E for me and my brother. She made our stockings. She decorated our trees. Yes, that's plural, as in numerous trees. with themes like snowmen and angels and good tree, don't touch, and crappy family tree where I hang all of the homemade ornaments the kids made. I don't think she really calls her tree that, but that's what I call it when I'm helping her decorate it. She went to extreme measures to keep us believing. When I was 9 or 10, I started to doubt the existence of Santa, so she hired some old guy with a red suit and a beard to stop by our house on a Sunday afternoon a week or so before Christmas. I'm sure she thought I'd buy his routine and continue to believe for another year or so. I remember that day distinctly. I was in my room looking out my window when I saw him pull up in front of our house in a beat-up red pickup truck. He checked his teeth in the mirror on the backside of his sun visor, picked his nose, smoothed his beard, and spit his gum out the truck window. He threw on his red hat and sauntered up to our front door. Any ounce of belief I'd had prior to that went out my bedroom window. There was no way this guy was legit. I don't know what my mom spent, but she should have demanded a refund.